What's up, everyone? This is your boy, the Neo Gonzalez Weather X45, and today I am going to tell you how Winter Storm Jonas hit the northeastern seaboard. So we're going to talk about how Winter Storm Jonas hit New York City, Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania, the northeastern coast, you know, all that stuff. Well, I can tell you one thing about Winter Storm Jonas. Winter Storm Jonas was one of the most history books of January 23rd, 2016. It was one of the most deadliest blizzard that ever hit the Northeast coast. And the one reason why was because visibilities were about a half quarter closer to zero visibilities. But when we went to the late night, and when that storm left, it wasn't over. The winds kept going, and it was really, really bad. So the visibilities became zero. So, let's talk about Winter Storm Jonas. Okay, so what date it hit? January 23rd. And not just only that, it was just like how Hurricane Sandy hit New York City. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason why is because it hit while there was a full moon. It's like the same thing like like how Sandy hit. So what happened was many meteorologists started to plan this out to become Superstorm Jonas. So they made a differences of Superstorm Jonas to Superstorm Sandy. But I'll make that video later. I'm going to make another video of what's the difference between Superstorm Jonas and Superstorm Sandy. And yeah. Okay, so how did Winter Storm Jonas hit the northeastern coast? So let me draw a little nice northeast for you. A little nice northeast. We got Florida here, like that. And then we got New York City. Nice. Alright. So just like I'm going to say the format again. You're paying attention to here, not this. Don't ignore this part. Okay, so this part is how Winter Storm Jonas hits northern eastern coast, basically. So basically what happens, during that time, we had a lot, and I mean a lot, lots of moisture, lots of them. We had 94% of moisture, which is really impressive. So the moisture basically started it. The moisture basically started here. So I'm going to make a triangle. And I'm going to put 95%. So we had 95 to 94% moisture. So it's going 94, 95, 94, 95. Because it weakened a little bit, but it got stronger then. And the reason why it got stronger is because there was a low pressure that started to form. There was a low pressure from the north that was right over here. And what happened was, all this moisture and warm air, or you can mostly call it warm air or front. So basically what happened was the warm air, it was about 100% of warm air, which is really bad. That causes a lot of moisture. So basically what happened is this little friend went up to the 95% of moisture. From 94 to 95% of moisture, basically. And so what happens was it goes to this moisture, and then the low pressure joins into this band. And then we have the cold front. The cold front sits into the south, and then it dips down to the low pressure with the moisture. So all these ingredients right here caused a lot of, not just only snow, there was heavy rain for the banks of the southern east, like Florida. Florida had a lot of rain during Winter Storm Jonas. So what happened was all this low pressure and cold front. The cold front was basically on Canada, and then it dipped down to the North American palace. The North American palace. I like to call it the palace because it actually went literally down to North America. So the low pressure and the cold front joined together, and then we had this 95% to 94. It was bouncing around because it weakened a little bit, but then it started to strengthen even more as more moisture feeded up to the storm. Now this storm was a very, very, very terrible storm because it brought a lot of traffic issues, and it brought the most crisis death of all times. Mostly 48 people died in this storm. And that's a really, really, really big situation. There was a pregnant woman who was shoveling snow. And I know, and I bet all of you heard that news when there was a pregnant woman who was shoveling snow. And you know what happens when you shovel snow while you're, basically, if you're shoveling snow and you're stressing it out, it's bad because you'll clog up your arteries and you'll start to get into a serious ammonia. And when you get an ammonia, you won't be able to breathe, and most likely your heart could fail. So it's very, very dangerous to shovel at the wrong time when it's snowing really bad. If it's about 30 centimeters of inches, basically, for this storm. 30 centimeters plus inches of snow, because there was a lot of moisture, there was a lot of rain bands that joined with the storm from North and South Carolina. There was a lot of rain, and then what happened was all that rain became snow because, just like I said, the low pressure and the cold air, 95% to 94% of moisture, started to collide with these ingredients. So the storm started to form right here, and I'm going to put a little star dial, like how like the star dial looks in every phone. So I'm going to put the star dial. It's right there. The star dial right there. That's the storm where it starts at. So this storm starts to form. And then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Winter Storm Jonas was so big. It was as big, close the sides of Hurricane Sandy, because it was a very, very big storm that it caused over like an hour storm. It was like almost very close to a 24-hour storm. It was very, very, very bad. And what happened was all this snow bands, basically, all the snow bands started to go even stronger and stronger and stronger. And as it hit here, there was more moisture that came along. There was 85% of warm water. 85% of warm water, which basically it's laying right over here. So it was close to Florida. And then this baby right here joins with Florida, this moisture, and it comes here, and then the storm gets even stronger. So what happened was, as it hit the bullseye, the most bullseye of the storm was Washington, D.C. And I gotta tell you, Washington, D.C. really got hit hard. It was never seen ever before of a worse storm that could ever hit Washington, D.C. because over in the past, there was not a lot of snows in Washington, D.C. So basically what happened was they had an amount of 24 inches of snow plus. So it was a lot of snow from Washington, D.C. And when it hit New York, a lot of meteorologists were very concerned about the storm. It was like a really, really big situation. They made the models, the European models made it for 5 to 8 inches of snow. And it was like a scribble-scrabble mess, complete mess to fix the storm, to get the storm right, to know how it's going to hit. And when we got hit, when New York City got hit, it was no longer 12 inches of snow. The American model of the radar of how much snow we could get was the winner. So the European model was the incorrect model that was supposed to form for here. They said that it was supposed to be 5 inches of snow, 8 inches, but when it hit, it was a really, really bad storm. I mean, this storm really covered a lot of snow from here, all the way down to here. It was a lot of snow. And New York City broke the record from that storm. It was 20, I think, Central Park from Manhattan, you had 29 inches of snow. That's the breaking record. 29 inches of snow, and then it went down to 24.9 inches of snow. And that's still impressive model number. That's about 30 centimeters. That's a really, really bad storm. It was also, it brought a lot of wind gusts. And the reason why it brought a lot of wind gusts because this cold front right here. So when it went to the northeast, it started to swirl around, causing strong winds. And all that strong winds caused a blizzard condition storm. So we had a blizzard warning that was issued for the National Weather Service. It was a very terrible storm. Traffics, emergencies. Even Governor Chris Christie declared an emergency that the trains should have supposed to be closed. Everything's supposed to be closed, and nobody is not going to be out for the storm because it's going to be a lot of work of shoveling the snow. It was a lot of snow. Winter Storm Jonas also caused the greatest coastal flooding in New Jersey. And in Mid-Atlantic New Jersey, there was about 5 to 8 feet. Then from the night, it got even worse. It went to 10 feet of water, and that broke the highest record than Hurricane Sandy. So just think about that. That thing just really literally flooded really worse than Hurricane Sandy when it hit to the northeast. So when it hit the Mid-Atlantic, there was flooding, complete flooding. So basically all the strongest winds, basically, this wind right here, it went down to the Mid-Atlantic, basically. And the strongest winds were right here. The moderate winds were basically right here from the northeast. So we had a lot of moderate winds. But that's still not the case. It was still a bad storm. And the most strongest winds were over from the coast. So basically winds were over 60 miles per hour. So it was a really, really, really risky storm. It was really bad. Some of them gust over 70 miles per hour because of the visibilities. They were very low. So that wraps up to here how Winter Storm Jonas hit New York City. It was a very bad storm, and they're going to celebrate that historic storm that will never be forgotten. It will never be forgotten at all. Also, the next video that I'm going to be making from the 23rd of February, I think, I'm going to make a video about the historic storm, which was Winter Storm Pax, that hit since 2014. So be sure of that video. If you guys like this video, the next video that I'm going to make is Hurricane Sandy, how Hurricane Sandy hit the Northeast from 2012. Peace out.